Interlude number 1, Vercine. Entry number 5, 16th day of the second month of spring. In a strange twist of fate, we chanced upon King Marcus Aurelius himself on the road to Vercine. Our first impressions of the man were less than positive, truth be told. I must admit I feel somewhat sorry for the people of Aurelia, given what I've seen of the man who rules over them. But I will keep such thoughts brief, lest the king catch sight of this journal and take offense with my misgivings. For all that I can say about Marcus, he is a jovial man who makes for pleasant company on this journey. With any luck, his short temper and impulsive need for battle will fade as he ages, so that he might become worthy of his crown and throne. The city of Vercine is only a day's ride from our current location at my time of writing this. Those who dwell within her walls have given the city the name the Pearl of the South, claiming her the most beautiful city in all the known world. Such opinions are subjective, to be sure, but if there is truth to them, I shall be happy to finally see the place for myself. Of course, I would be remiss to not remind myself that the city, like all those in the Southlands, was built atop the bones of the slaves who laid her foundations. It is difficult to ignore just how widespread the practice is across these Southron kingdoms. Nor has it become any easier to find the practice palatable, no matter how much the locals have normalized it. Even though our journey into the region of Berk will be fraught with danger, a part of me might be secretly glad to put the Southland kingdoms behind us. Zan.
Take a look out the carriage window, my friends. She's come into view at last, Vercine, the pride and joy of my kingdom.
Oh my, even from this distance I can see how beautiful the city looks. All the tales I'd heard of Vercine made me interested in going to see the city one day. I feel blessed that that day has finally come.
Oh, I can scarcely wait to visit the marketplace. Vercine is said to be a wonderland full of trade and commerce. No doubt the shops here carry the loveliest dresses. Oh, I'm simply giddy thinking about it.
Remember, Mary, we're here to prepare for our mission in Berk. Fancy dresses are not high on our list of priorities.
You can't allow your own sister one indulgence, Altair.
Vercine's artisans are among the finest in all of Roden. If the young lady wants a dress, you ought to get her one.
Fine. One dress, but no more. The rest of our gold must go to more practical expenses.
I knew you had it in you to be a good brother, Altair.
Your ability to weasel your way into getting what you want is uncanny.
Well, gentlemen, even more impressive on the inside than on the outside, eh?
Indeed, the market is quite expansive. We'll be able to find what we need for the road ahead, it looks like.
Take what time you need to purchase weapons from our shops. If you need funds, the arena is located at the center of town. It's the perfect place to test your mettle and earn a few coins, too.
I should prefer not to buy our supplies with blood money. It might be good for some training for the road ahead, honestly. Berk is a harsh land, and we'll want to make sure we're absolutely ready. Lord of Light preserve us. Do as you will, but try not to get yourself killed.
Right, I'll ride ahead to the castle. Do try to finish your preparations before sundown at the least. There's only so long I wish to wait about for anything.
So very rude, even now. That man does try my patience something fierce. Grousing about it will help nothing. Come, let's get down to business. We've got preparations to make. Okay, and this is the first interlude chapter. And I'm not sure I'm gonna actually skip ahead the preparation screen that much, because this chapter is sort of a staple of my hacks, and a lot of hacks really, is the preparation shopping chapter. I have something up my nose. I can't tell if I'm going to sneeze or not. But yeah, this is a chapter that's basically go around, buy items, and prepare yourself for the next few chapters ahead. So I'm actually not going to cut out the prep screen, because, well, it's not going to take me that long to get prepared. I'm mostly just going to be putting couple items away, as well as taking out a couple sellables. Ugh, excuse me. So that I can pawn them off before we actually get started, get down to brass tacks here. Let me put these 2 rings away. And our loadout for this chapter doesn't matter that much, honestly. The only thing that I could maybe do is get a couple more staves for my healers, but I don't really have any. So aside from that, it's mostly just going to be sell red gem, sell blue gem, and then bring whomsoever needs to make use of the arena for this chapter. Which, in this case, is pretty much the team that I have set up here. And depending on... certain characters really don't need to make use of the arena, like Bellona, for example. Level 11, highest level member of the party. Victor's probably not going to be staying around for very long, honestly, so I don't know. But there are a couple of other characters who are in need of a quick level or 2. And I do want to get everyone at level 9 at least, maybe level 10. I'll try and train as many as I can. You know, I particularly want to get Puck up to level 10, because I actually plan on promoting them as soon as I'm done with the map here. But yeah, we have a couple of houses to visit for some nice money. We have shops here, and we have this guy, Torin. I wonder why he's here. Well, actually, we'll find that out soon enough. Actually, how do I want to set this up? So I think turn 1, Victor and Mohammed, you're going to want to ride out to get the houses. And in the meantime, everyone else is basically just going to be taking part in what arena battles they can. I'm actually not sure how much of this chapter I'm actually going to show, because there are some talk conversations. And we can probably get those out of the way pretty early on in the map. But I mean, there's not really much to this chapter. It's basically just going to be a bunch of arena fights for 8 turns, and then maybe some purchasing of supplies. But there are a couple of talk conversations that I need to go over. And, of course, we need to see what's in these houses. Let's start with the left one first. There are 3 different sorts of magical expression. The first is known as canto magic, which is performed by chanting or singing in the ancient tongue. The second is kinesis magic, which uses the movement of one's body to direct the flow of mana energy. These forms of magic may only be utilized by those born spell-touched, identified by unnatural hair color. But the third form of magical expression, glyph magic, is special in that non-magic types can use it. A glyph is only given its magic if it is etched into an object by one who is spell-touched. But once it is set, even non-magi can activate the spell contained within the glyph. Take this axe, for example. It has been inlaid with a glyph of powerful fire magic by a magus. That allows it to strike at an enemy's magical resistance, which is often quite poor. Such weapons can prove difficult to wield, but are powerful in the hands of a skilled fighter. If you do not believe me, try making use of this axe yourself, and see what I mean. And we get the flare axe. As the priest man said, this is infused with fire magic. It's a B rank axe, but it makes use of the magic and resistance stats to calculate damage, much like the light brand, like the various magic swords, like the light brand and the wind edge and so on. It's one thing I wanted to do for this is that I gave every weapon type one magic weapon. So for axes, it's the flare axe. For lances, it's the trident, which we will get one of pretty soon. And for bows, it's the rune bow, which we won't see, at least for one chapter, I think. And meanwhile, house on the right. You're going to the Berkish crags, you say? If that's true, then you'd best have a plan to combat all the wyverns you'll encounter there. The cliffs overlooking Yar's Mouth Bay are a natural breeding ground for what we call the lesser wyvern. They're amicable enough to be easily tamed, while hardy and swift enough to serve as the perfect war mount. That's why Berkish pirates have such a deadly reputation. Preying upon ships is easy when half your crew can fly. But the powerful wings that make the wyvern so deadly are also its greatest weakness. A well-placed arrow will send them plummeting to the ground, just as it would a Pegasus. Of course, wyvern scales are thick, so they may be able to shrug off a shot or two, but scaly hides will not avail them against a spell such as this. It creates a blade of wind that will mangle their wings and slice through their scales. I've no need for this tome, so I shall gift it to you instead. And we get the Air Caliber. You might have seen this being wielded by a couple of enemies, but it's pretty much what he says. It's an anima magic spell, C rank, that deals effective damage to flyers. Nothing too complicated about that. Now, Altair's the one who can talk to Tauren, but he can't reach him on turn 1. So I think what I might do is, just for the sake of efficiency, Locke has a talk conversation with Altair, so he can talk and then shove him out of the way. Or shove him a little bit closer. So let's just do the talk conversation first. Locke, there's something I've been curious about. When we met King Reinhardt, you introduced yourself to him as Loch Hollowman. How's it you earned that surname? Oh, that? It's a name I made up extempore. Truth be told, I'm a bastard child. Never knew my parents. But I'd rather not be forced to endure the stigma that comes with carrying a bastard's name. So I thought back to my days living at the orphanage where I spent my childhood. There was this old hollowed-out tree I used to play about in, and when I thought about that, the name Hollowman came to me, and I decided I liked it. That is quite the story. It's a rather dignified name. I could imagine it belonging to a family of noble lords of the Southlands. Had I ambitions to become a noble lord, perhaps? Now that would be one hell of a story. A humble sellsword becoming Earl of his own fiefdom. It's not so far out of the realm of possibilities you might think. You must remember, the youngest son of a noble house is technically no lord, for he owns no land. If he is to build a name for himself, there must be some way for him to climb the rungs of the social ladder. If they can do it, so might you. I said it once to King Reinhardt, and I'll say it again. I have no wish to climb beyond my station in life. I am content to remain a commoner, so long as I can earn my daily bread. The trials of keeping my own fiefdom are hardly worth the gold and power that come with them in my eyes. Would that more men shared your disinterest for grabbing for power? The world we live in would be better for it. The struggle for power hurts all and benefits none in the end. Me, I'd rather take the gold I earn from battle and build myself a farm. I won't be young and full of vigor forever, and I'd rather not die like a fool fighting a battle I'm too old for. Better yet, if that farm were to have its own village built around it. A town of your own making? Now that's a dream worth fighting for. I can see it now. The town of Loch's Hollow. A good name. I'll have to remember that one. Now, oops, shit, I didn't want to do that. You know what? Fine. It's fine. It's not that big a deal. Now, you might have noticed that Altair and Mary both got slight updates to their portrait so that their hair colors are looking a little bit nicer and not as overwhelmingly white. Special thank you to Zappy McCraw for going ahead and doing that for me, because he's been playtesting this hack whilst I am making these videos, and he just decided he just decided to do that out of the goodness of his heart, and also because he's kind of a friend of mine. The one thing is that I noticed, and you may have noticed, that it did something weird with Mary's smiling frames. Like, I don't know if you saw, but there was like a flash of like white color on her skin. I might have to let her... I might have to tell Zappy about that and see if we can figure out what the heck's going on there, because it looked bad. But it's also one of those things where, like, I don't know if there's a clean way to fix it right away. But we got the houses, so now it's time for the fun part, which is arena fighting. Well, first things first, I have to save state. I've also decided I'm just not going to cut out my save stating anymore. It's not worth it. It makes the recordings take longer than they need to, and it also makes editing take a little bit longer than it needs to. So basically, this is just going to be get everyone as trained up as they can be for the road ahead. So I guess in the top priorities, in terms of top priorities, all the level 8 characters are going to be the main ones we need to grab. So I think Corinne... Okay, you have sword, so you're all set against this guy. And the tricky part is that this is also a good time to build up support conversations between characters, if you are so inclined to do that, which I am. I'm gonna send Zayan first. And I think that after Altair gets his conversation with the last two people he needs to, that I'm going to cut ahead to... I'm just going to speed up and play music for the rest of this chapter, because there really isn't that much to talk about. I might even just decide to do this as a 2 chapters in one video, and go ahead and do chapter 7 while I have the chance. So, let's first get this. Father Torin, what a pleasant surprise to find you here.
Ah, Altair, it is good to see that you are well. And you as well, Zayan. I do hope that Altair has not been too much trouble.
Not at all, Father. Have you been receiving the letters I've sent you?
I've not missed a single one of them. I must say, I'm impressed with how your penmanship has improved. You've a real talent with words, Zayan. I'm proud to call myself a tutor of yours.
What was it that brought you here to Vercine, Father?
I visit the Southlands every so often to peruse their markets. Vercine's market is the perfect place to find goods I'd not find elsewhere. Oh, and of course, I cannot neglect the food. Southern cuisine is exquisite.
Oh, certainly. Since we've descended the spine, I've not wanted for delicious food. Father, returning to the topic of my letters to you, you did read about the parts involving the Hellspawn, yes?
I did, Zayan. In truth, I've been hearing disturbing tales about them from several sources as of late. I am unsure what all of these different accounts of monsters means for Roden. There are too many of them for me to dismiss them as mere rumors.
Have you a clue as to where they might be coming from?
At the present moment, all I have are speculations. But know that I am conducting investigations into my theories. Should I discover something of importance, I will tell you at once.
Is there a possibility that you might be able to come with us? Your mastery of Lumencraft could help us in battle greatly.
Alas, my hands are tied with my duties as abbot. I can only accompany you in spirit, not in body. But I have a present that will aid you in your travels. It comes from the treasury of Adam's Abbey. Here, take it.
Oh my, what a beautiful bow and arrow. It glows with what looks to be holy light.
The bow and her arrows have been consecrated with holy mana energy. Any blow they strike against the Hellspawn should prove lethal.
We shall use it to do good, Father. That is a promise.
I will pray for your safety, my children. Berk is a realm without law. You must always be cautious.
We promise we'll return from our mission there safely, Father. May the Lord's blessings be with you always. And we get the Holy Bow. It's yet another holy weapon that is effective does effective damage to monsters. Now it is time for more arena fights, and Muhammad, you're going to have to go somewhere like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you can go right here for now. Locke, get out of the way so Temperance can go in. Whoops, not barrier. Promise I'll speed through this as soon as I get one last talk conversation between Muhammad and Altair. So I realize that this is not the most interesting gameplay to watch, but it is something of a necessary evil to endure it for the sake of leveling our characters up. Puck rose to level 9, HP, skill, and res. Not a great level up, but oh well. And we need someone to get them off of the tile. Mary, you do not have nearly enough con. Unfortunately, a lot of these characters kind of don't have the con to pick up Puck and put them down. I think Phoebe, you could probably use the arena a bit more. Mage with the Explodere, aka Hellfire Tome. I actually edited the arena because the big problem with Darius the Conqueror was that arena battles were really nasty on normal mode because the enemies were frequently wielding silver weapons, and the mages in particular were the worst because a lot of times they would have fucking Fimbulventer tomes, which that was no damn fun to deal with. But in this game, they'll only have up to a Hellfire Tome. Alright, one last talk conversation between Altair and Muhammad.
You miserable excuse for a slave! Take this!
Ah! Please, Sahid, I did not mean to drop that vase. Please do not whip me so viciously.
Cease your whining, damn mudskin! The only way your kind ever learns lessons is if we beat them into you.
Ay! It hurts, gods be good, it stings so bad.
What are you staring at? Never seen a man whip his slave before? If you've got nothing to say, then move along. There's nothing to see here, just business as usual. Damn me and my cowardice. Sometimes there is nothing you can say to make things better. Had you spoken up, you'd have only caused trouble. Both for yourself and for that man. I thought I had prepared myself for the day I came to the Southlands. But it's one thing to know of slavery. It's another to see it for yourself. If you feel pain at witnessing it, then imagine how I feel. And for that man, a whipping like that is only an average day. Why the Girani, though? Slavery in all its forms is awful and barbaric, but why are the Girani the ones targeted to be sold like chattel? Because we do not look or act the same as you Angari. The white men laid claim to this land, confined us to the deserts of Jiran. They grew in number until they outnumbered us 1,000 to 1, and then they took our people and made slaves of them. Perhaps I am asking the wrong questions. The more pressing one is how would one bring the practice to an end? That is a question I cannot answer for you. Slavery is a convenience to the farmers of the Southlands. Why waste money on men to harvest your fields when a slave can do it for no cost? Our suffering lets the rich white farm owner enjoy his sugar without needing to cut himself harvesting the cane. And so long as it remains a convenience for them, what need have they to make slavery illegal? There must be a way to open their hearts and minds. The system cannot continue on forever. It simply cannot. What makes you think that you will be the one to convince them?
I don't think I can. Not on my own, at least. But someone like me must be the one to do it. If they won't listen to your people, then my people must be the ones to speak on your behalf. You are a man of conviction, Altair. But you have the right thing of one thing. One man alone cannot break our chains. It is something that can only be accomplished by working together. And if you are willing to work with us, then that is all I need to know about you. To do right by my fellow man is the first of the Lord of Light's commandments. That is all I have ever wanted from my life. I am only doing what I have always done, nothing more. That you care for our plight at all is enough, at least for now. Yeah. A lot of heavy shit to have to deal with. Alright, so that's all of the auxiliary dialogue for the chapter. I think I'm just going to go ahead and plow through the rest of the arena battles that I have to do here. So, forgive me, but I will speak to you when I am more or less done. Cue the music! Okay, I think that's as much arena abuse as I care to do. So we did have a couple people hit level 10 as a result of this. So real quick, Puck's Thief class level 10 skill is passed, can move through enemy units. Rachel got Archer's level 10 skill, which is Natural Cover, -3 damage taken when on terrain with effects. Not the most impactful skill, and also I forgot to go over this, and I said I would in the last episode, but the Hunter's level 10 skill that Mohammed gets is Poison Strike. Deals damage equal to 20% of enemies' max HP after the battle this unit initiates. This makes Mohammed actually really quite good, because that skill can do a number towards getting bosses whittled down. And that can be kind of helpful, because there are a couple bosses coming up that are going to be a bit of a pain in the ass to take down. And any way you can damage them indirectly will help you. Oh, goodness. Alright, now something else to point out, if I can get to the right screen. Now, I don't know if you caught this while I was doing that whole speed up thing, but Zan got 2 A supports with Altair and Mary. I downloaded a patch that was supposed to increase the amount of support conversations a character could have from the vanilla amount of 5 to a total of 10. The thing is that I don't know why this is, but for some reason, it only acknowledges that this limit isn't a thing if you get 2 A supports at the same time, or you do something that causes the thing to go over the normal limit, which I don't get it. And to be honest, I'm not sure I care that much, because I'm tired. Like, I don't even know. I don't think I'm going to be moving on to Chapter 7 after this, because, like, even though this was kind of a short and not really that much went on episode, I just cannot, for the life of me, like, I don't feel like I have gas in the tank to do another thing. So, we'll pad the rest of the episode out, for lack of a better term, by buying weapons and items. Now, as you can see, we have quite the stock of gold built up. So I think we can indulge a little bit. We'll get a steel sword. One of each type of dagger weapon, just for the hell of it. I don't think we need an iron or steel lance that much. Javelin, no. I don't think we need a whole lot else. I think I might buy a couple bows for Mohammed, because he will probably want them. Longbows are actually quite a nice thing to have. And then Puck, you can go over. I'll promote Puck next chapter. So we'll get one of each tome, because there are some units coming up who might appreciate them. 2 heal staves. And 2 mend staves. Restore stuff I don't need. Unlock I don't need. Barrier I don't really need. This, however, this rescue staff, I'm going to buy a couple of these. This is a thing that I imagine will, that LT Seers might appreciate, is purchasable rescue staves. And we'll buy, let's say 2 chest keys. Yeah, 2 chest keys I think is enough. And that should be good to go. We still have over 20,000 gold left to spare. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for here, so we might as well end the turn and end the chapter. Right, those should be provisions enough for our journey. I can see the sun starting to begin its journey toward the horizon. We'd best go inform the king that we're ready.
You took your sweet bloody time making preparations. I damn near fell asleep waiting for you.
We apologize for making you wait for us, Your Highness.
That's no trouble. Now then, about your journey into Berk. Your first goal will be to seek out a man named Dagar Lothbrok.
Lothbrok? I've heard that name before. Unless I'm mistaken, the man's a pirate lord himself. Why are we seeking him out exactly?
I've kept a written correspondence with Dagar these past few moons. The man claims to only prey on other pirate ships, not on merchant vessels. If he tells the truth, then he might prove a useful ally in keeping the other clans from Berk in check. Much as I'd like to go and rout the bastards myself, I haven't the time. I'm placing a good deal of trust in you to do this for me, merry men.
Where does this Lothbrok fellow make his home?
I'm told he keeps his haunt around Cragmel, the high cliff that sits above Yarsmouth Bay. I realize that trusting a pirate lord is risky business, but it's the best chance we have.
We'll do all we can to see these pirates brought to justice. Phew, what a day this has been. I'm completely exhausted. And to think we've still got more traveling to do come the morrow. No rest for the weary, as the saying goes. But this is the life we've chosen, and so we must accept. I'm surprised you chose this path, knowing we'd likely be forced into more battles of life and death. Are you certain you're prepared for kill-be-killed conflicts, Altair? Well, to tell the truth, I fear I may not have a choice but to accept the reality of fighting battles. More and more I catch myself wondering if a man of peace has any place in this world. Altair. Actually, that reminds me of something. Back in the Spine, when you told me and Mary about the story of the day your old village was destroyed, it reminded me of something I frankly ought to have told you sooner. You and I have something in common, you see. Something in common. Then you also lost your home to war? Aye. But I lost so much more than that, just a home and family. This may seem difficult to believe, but in truth, I was born a prince. A prince? You? I know how far-fetched it sounds, believe you me. But it is the truth. Mary and I are both of royal blood. Not that the kingdom my father commanded was much of anything special, mind you. He was little more than a petty king whose territory consisted of what land he could see from his ramparts. But he was a king, and so I enjoyed all the comforts that one could expect a royal child to enjoy. I can hardly imagine you dressed in fine robes and jewels. Especially knowing you as you are now. It's nonsensical. Be thankful you did not know me in those days. My memories of that time are still quite vivid, to my displeasure. I cringe profusely remembering what a terror I was in my youth. You, a terror? Now that's even more unbelievable than you being a prince. Is it so unbelievable that a boy who has everything handed to him on a silver platter would become spoiled? Especially with how little my father cared to correct my behavior, and so I became the most rotten of brats. Everything in my life had to be exactly as I desire it, else I would throw a tantrum. I harried my poor servants from dawn till dusk, so much that they made sure I received anything I wanted. Now that's a sight I'd have paid good money to see. But what of your mother? Did she not try to raise you better? My mother was lost to smallpox when I was a boy of 3. She had little time to instill better values upon me. Mary is, in truth, my half-sister, born of another woman. There was a time I refused to consider her family because of that. But all that changed for you eventually. Yes, it was when I was 3 and 10, a day like any other. Our lands bordered the domain of the Kingdom of Demaria. One day, without warning, the Demarians came, with their king commanding at the fore. He was dressed in shining white armor, with hair the color of ice. His soldiers closed in around our castle, led by a man with a hideous face atop a black wyvern. I called that man the Beast in Black. A savage terror he was. He descended upon the castle in a fury, killing soldier, servant, maid, and page boy alike. My father was among the lives his slaughter claimed. Quite a harrowing experience. How was it that you made your escape? Mary's mother knew of a secret passage that led us far from the castle. Alas, the Beast in Black caught up to us before she could escape with us. She was forced to stay behind. All Mary and I had were the clothes on our backs and a handful of small trinkets we were forced to sell. But by some miracle of good fortune, we still had our lives. I think I may have had a guardian angel watching over me, even in those days. It was that same angel who guided us to Sir Victor, who took pity upon us and brought us to Adam's Abbey. And I'm sure you can guess the rest from there. That's quite the tale indeed. I never realized how similar our stories are to each other. Each of us lost our homes to war, only to find solace in a new family. Indeed, I believe it was fate that brought the two of us together. It proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that we are not alone. Now we have each other, and we always will. Indeed, and I am a far richer man to call you my friend than I ever was as a prince with a soul black as rot. To our friendship, Cyan? To our friendship. And then we transition to Gargassa. Sir Tristan Alvagari, to what do we owe the honor of your presence today? At ease, soldier. I am simply here to make a report to His Eminence. I regret to inform you that the king is in the midst of his evening prayers. Father Macarius has made it clear that he is to see no one until the prayers are concluded. Forgive me for forcing you to wait, sir. It is no trouble to me. I am a patient man. Lord Tristan, you've come home. Huh? Armory, if you're watching, yes, this is one of your portraits. Ah, Prince Peter. I hardly recognize you, you've grown so much. It's good to see you again, Tristan. A pity you can't visit us here at the Iron Fort more often. On that we can agree. Alas, my nightly duties leave me with little time to pay you visits. Between keeping watch over the eastern marches and drilling all the new recruits, I've been run ragged. I'm still annoyed that I wasn't able to attend your marriage some moons back. Allow me to apologize for my absence and offer you my congratulations. Am I to presume this fine lass here is the lucky lady?
Yes, my name is Zelina. It is a pleasure to meet you, Lord Tristan.
Your reputation precedes you, just as Peter told me. Don't believe every tale you've heard of me, milady. No doubt the prince has filled your ears with scurrilous rumors. Cheap in poor taste, Sir Tristan. I'd never do such a thing. There's no knight in Vallaca I have half so much respect for. Peace, lad, I'm only making a jest. I try not to place myself upon a pedestal, lest I get fat in the head. If any man has the right to boast of his prowess, it is you, Tristan. Father did not name you one of his 4 bloodhounds for nothing. The feats you performed battling the mudskins of Jiran are the stuff of legend. Those mudskins did not simply roll over and die for me, Peter. If you spend as long battling them as I have, you will learn that their armies are to be respected. Respect for the Jirani? Perish the thought. Those mudskins are hardly worth being considered people when compared to us Angari. How could their armies possibly compare to ours?
It is because they are a lesser, more barbaric people that they are dangerous, Lady Zelina.
Macarius.
The Jirani are an uncivilized pack of animalistic subhumans. What little intelligence they possess is reserved for the pursuit of war and slaughter. In all other manners, they are driven by the base instinct to sate carnal desires and to kill us Angari. It is why the Lord of Light chose to mark their skin with mud to provide visible proof of their unclean nature. Only by the grace of God and the valor of knights such as Sir Tristan are we protected from their wrath.
Lord of Light, preserve us.
Amen. If you are quite finished with your sermon, Father Macarius, I presume your presence means the king has finished his prayers?
Yes, forgive me for forcing you to wait, Sir Tristan. Showing devotion to the Lord takes precedence over all other matters. Even visits from the king's closest friends and family. Unless you are bringing news from the Rittermark.
I do, and it is news the king will want to hear post-haste.
Ah, so it will soon be time, then. Excellent. And do not let me keep you waiting. I must help Prince Peter with his studies in the meantime. Run along to your chambers, Peter. I'll join you shortly.
Yes, Father Macarius. If I may be so bold as to ask, Father Macarius, how is it that you consider yourself to be a holy man of the faith? Most servants of the Lord I know practice the lumencraft, or at the very least some healing magics. But you wield no such magic, only the shadowy arts of the eldercraft.
The shadow is a servant to the light. Shadows cannot exist without the glow of the sun's light. They dance at the beck and call of his rays. So too am I, a practitioner of the dark arts, a servant to the Lord of Light. I was placed upon this earth to serve the king our Lord chose as his chosen champion. And that is a role I take very, very seriously.
I see. I must be going now. Step aside, please.
Of course.
Your Eminence, it is I, your humble servant, here to...
Rise, Sir Tristan. In private, you are my friend, not my vassal.
But my liege, I must show you proper...
Peace, Tristan. No one is around to see us here. And it has been too long since we last spoke as friends, rather than as king and vassal.
Very well. It is good to see you again, Ivan. Am I to presume this cup of tea and these biscuits have been laid out for me?
Yes. Help yourself.
Thank you, my king. I spoke to Prince Peter and his new wife whilst waiting outside your chambers. I am disappointed I could spare no more time to witness his wedding.
You did not miss much, to tell the truth. We had few expenses to spare on such trivialities as a wedding.
Surely you were not so much of a skinflint that your son could not enjoy a proper royal wedding. The boy is your heir, and crown prince to the throne of Vallaca.
Do not remind me. I will provide the effort for Peter once he proves he is worthy of it, and so far he has proven he is not. 3 moons have passed since he took that Rovanian princess to wife, and still she remains childless. The boy simply refuses to do anything other than frustrate me, I swear.
You must be patient with him, Ivan. He is still young.
At his age, I was commanding armies against the Jirani from the front lines. Youth is not an excuse, and he will not remain a prince forever. I am half dreading the day I leave this world and place my empire in that weakling's hands. But fortunately, that day is a long ways off. At the very least, his marriage has bound Rovania to my cause, which is all I needed it to do. Speaking of marriage, do you not think it is time you found yourself a wife, Tristan? You are not growing any younger, and I should think you will want to start a family soon.
I am far too busy with my duties as your bloodhound to consider it.
More likely, your heart is still set on that young lady from House Isolde. You do well to purge all thought of her from your mind, Tristan. She made her choice, and that choice cannot be revoked. But enough of such dour talk. Tell me, have you received news from the Rittermark?
Yes, a falcon came to us only a week prior. It seems Sir Hamer's regiment was successful in their mission. The druids placed their glyphs within the Rittermark, and the Geth army remains none the wiser.
Excellent. All is proceeding according to plan, then. It is only a matter of time now.
If I may be so bold, Ivan, do you think it wise to undertake this plan of yours now? Geth has never once shown us any hostility since Reinhardt became king, and our conflict with Saddam al-Akkad is still ongoing in the east.
Saddam is a broken man, fallen to madness and paranoia. He is too busy hunting for traitors among his fellow mudskins, and his armies are in disarray. We have nothing to fear from the Jirani.
If you feel confident, then, that this course of action will prove successful, then I shall trust your judgment. I presume we will begin marshalling shortly, and that I am to help with the process of mobilizing.
Aye. I would have you remain at the Iron Fort for a little longer. Tomorrow, we will begin marshalling our forces in earnest. You would do well to get some rest before the morrow comes. Oh, but before you go, I have a gift for you. A token of our friendship.
This sword. It's beautiful. The blade is jet black. Could it be orichalcum?
Aye, mined from the heart of a fallen star. That sword's edge will never blunt or break, no matter what it strikes. A sword forged of such legendary metal is worth an army's weight in gold.
Even as a token of our friendship, this is an incredibly generous gift. I've half a mind to say I am not worthy of it, but I know you will insist I take it anyways. And so, I shall treasure it until I take my last dying breath.
For you, most loyal and skilled of my knights, the one who has never let me down, there is no gift too great for you, Tristan. May that sword serve you well in the battles yet to come. Yours shall be the blade that rends asunder this old world of sin and debauchery, and I shall be the hammer that will forge it anew.
Of course, my king. To our glorious future.
Yes, to our glorious future.
And that's the interlude done. How long did this take to record? Oh, wow. It's close to an hour. Okay, then. Never mind. We are not going on to Chapter 7. Not that I was planning to do that anyways. But yeah, I know this was kind of a short episode, and probably felt even shorter than it probably is going to feel shorter than it was to play through, because it was basically just a bunch of arena fights that I sped through. But despite that, there was definitely a fair bit of story to what was otherwise kind of a filler chapter. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot else to add here. So I will see you guys next time when we tackle Chapter 7 and we start making use of all the arena battles that we did in this chapter against a proper enemy. So until then, my name is Zane, also known as the King Bahamut or just Bahamut. And yeah, I don't have anything. What am I trying to say? Signing off for the night. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe. And I will see you in the next chapter.